If you're a seeker on the spiritual path, then most likely you've heard the term dark night of the soul. The dark night of the soul is a period of your life in which you come face to face with your shadow. Most likely, you're gonna have multiple dark nights of the soul throughout your life. Oftentimes, whenever we go through the first one, we think we're done, but learning how to navigate these experiences is actually very useful because they do come more than once. Every time that you're about to go through a deep transformation or grow into another aspect of yourself, you do have to face your shadow. And that's when we get to experience once again the lovely dark night of the soul. So in today's video, I'm going to teach you how to navigate the dark night of the soul and how not to get stuck in this energy. If you'd like to learn more about cultivating self-confidence and creating a feminine-centric lifestyle, then make sure to subscribe and check out my description box below for a free masterclass, Wearing Confidence Like a Dress. If you're new here, my name is Silvana and I am a course creator and the founder of Venusian Woman, a movement that seeks to reignite feminine wisdom from within. The dark night of the soul is an extremely difficult time of our lives because we're forced to face the darkest parts of ourselves. Now, when I say shadow, I don't mean bad or evil. I simply mean unacknowledged. And whatever is not unacknowledged can be very shocking and confrontational for the self to have to witness. Many times what happens when we're in this energy is that we get lost in it because being outside of it, it's very easy to say like, okay, these are the things that I can do to feel better. These are the habits that I have created so that I don't go like really deep into some dark space. But what happens whenever we're like in the middle of the dark night of the soul is that everything kind of becomes a lot harder to do. Your habits might just go down the drain. Maybe you don't feel like working anymore. Maybe you lose interest in your hobbies and you lose connection with yourself. You might even lose faith and hope. So when we are in these energies, it's very difficult to get out, especially if we're navigating them alone. Spiritually speaking, the dark night of the soul is that time where all of the emotions that we didn't feel in the past because they were too difficult for us to feel and process, we actually get to feel them in that moment. So that means that you probably will feel shame and anger and depression and fear and despair and all of these negative emotions that it's not easy for us to feel and experience. That's when they come to the surface, when we're going through this transformation. This is the darkness that it's look at it as a purification process and also as a big purge. Whatever emotions come up during a dark night of the soul, they're there to be witnessed and released. So when you witness them and you're able to feel them fully without resistance, you are releasing those emotions from your energetic body. So spiritually, the dark night of the soul is like the preparation for a new version of ourselves to be born or to sprout out of the deep earth of our subconscious mind. Psychologically, it's a confrontation with all the unacknowledged parts of the self, which means that if I tend to project certain things onto other people and I say, well, I am this and that person's rude and I'm never rude. The fact that we are projecting that onto that other person means that we have a disconnection with that part of us that is rude. Because if it exists in our reality, it exists within ourselves. Maybe at various degrees, right? Like for one person, it might be more predominant, and maybe for you, it's not as predominant, but it's still there because if it's in your reality, it is part of you. So coming to face with the shadow also means accepting that whatever I dislike and I judge on the other lives and exists within me at some degree. So this is a very complex process that can feel confrontational and it can reinforce feelings of despair because then we start feeling shame for all of these things that we're seeing about ourselves. And the thing about these emotions is that the more that we run away from shame or from anger or from fear, the more that they gain power unconsciously, and the more that they tend to just come out in the least appropriate times. So if you are going through a dark night of the soul, consider yourself lucky, because this is as bad as it gets. It is going to get a lot better from here on, and I'm going to give you the one thing that has helped me throughout my multiple episodes of dark nights of the soul, right before I'm about to go through a big transformation, that pulled me out of the darkness. Always. Like, this has always worked. The most important thing that you can do when you're in the dark night of the soul and you're in absolute despair and you don't know how to get out is to connect with the energy of desire. Desire will literally save you. Why do I say that? Whenever we are confronted by our shadow, we're being invited to practice self-acceptance and acceptance of life and on others as well. And in this self-acceptance, there is a lot that we're receiving. We're receiving all these emotions, we're feeling them, we're processing them, which means that we're releasing them as well. But the more that we do that without coming up for air, the deeper and deeper that we go, and then the harder that it is to get out of that space. Think of it as like you're being, like, all of these emotions that you're feeling during the dark night of the soul, they're like pulling you deeper and deeper and deeper into the ocean. And the farther you go, the farther that you have to come up with air. The energy of desire, what it does is that it gives you a temporary floaty so you can come up for air, breathe, and then you can dive back down into the realms of the subconscious mind, dealing with all of these heavier, denser emotions. So connecting with what is it that you desire is going to help you come out of this energy. And as you marinate in this energy and you get a break from the heaviness of whatever you're processing, you're also allowing yourself to give birth to the new version of yourself that's coming. The dark night of the soul is a process of death, and then death is just a transition. There's no death without rebirth. It's a transformation. So if there's this part of you that's dying, that is being purified, and all these emotions are purging through you, then desire is creating the space needed for this new version of yourself to be born. And the desires that come up during this time, maybe they're all desires, and as you're going through the process, you realize that now there are new desires. If you're feeling extreme shame, I'm sure a desire that you will have is like unconditional acceptance from yourself and from other people. So wherever the shadow takes us, the other side of it can be navigated through the energy of desire. And this movement of going like deep and back up and going deep and back up is going to make the process of going through the transformation and going through the dark night of the soul a lot easier. And over time, it becomes a piece of cake. I'm not exaggerating. Like, every time now that I have a dark night of the soul, I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's dive deep. There's a sense of excitement that comes because I know what's on the other side of this heavy period, and it's always worth it. So connecting with that energy of desire not only is going to give you that little break that you need to breathe, but it is going to usher in this new version of yourself. And the more that you pendulate between the heavy, dense emotion and the exciting desire emotion, the quicker that you are both releasing the old and giving space for the new version of yourself to be born and come out. So I want to invite you to change your perspective of how you see the dark night of the soul, and instead of seeing it as this horrible thing. And by the way, if you're going through it, I know that you're like, yeah, you don't know. It's impossible to get out of here. But I wanna invite you to change your perspective and see it just as a tunnel that is squeezing you so that you can be born again. It's like going through a birth canal. The dark night of the soul is like you're tight and everything's dark and everything's heavy and horrible, but on the other side of it, it's light. And then you get to create a brand new life for yourself. So that little mindset shift helps us navigate the process in a lot easier way and a lot smoother. And that is the whole purpose of this video, is to help you navigate that, because if you get good at that, then you get good at transformation and growth, and then you are adaptable to anything that happens. So if life wants to send you many changes so that your life can progress and your life can change drastically very quickly, you can handle it, and you're not gonna get lost in the ocean of despair that is shadow work. So let me know in the comments below, have you experienced the dark night of the soul? How was it? Are you in it right now? Let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.